going to cut the checks down. We'll get more info on that, hopefully with Daphne. But, one of the programs that we're also looking for an update on is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and the FPUC. And so we have Department of Labor Director Dave Dell'Isola on the line. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Chris. Is Sabrina there with you, too?
Yes, she is.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Always nice to hear you, too.
So some good news, I think, in that we've got one local program using the CARES Act money that the governor's institute, the Duran Salapi Tautau thingy-mabob. And then we also got the the stimulus money. So I'm thinking a little bit of bridge financing to get us to that unemployment where we're expecting tens of thousands of people to avail themselves of that program, Dave. So we just wanted to bring you on and get the latest update with the FPUC and the PUA. So go for it. Dave Dell'Isola, good morning.
Good morning. I've been shaking the tree, as I've always said, but I made some significant progress the last couple of days when I had several U.S. DOL all the way up to D.C. on the phone, and they were there because I asked them that I needed to get this program rolling, no more delays. My governor said I needed to get this out this month, and when I say I, that meant we as in U.S. DOL, and I needed to get some developments. I needed to get something from them. And I explained to them the whole plight from beginning to end and how our people are suffering, and they're not going to be patient and wait much longer. I think we've stood ourselves up with the Theodore Roosevelt, and I threw everything in there that I could just to get them to get it. And at the end of the call, when I checked with my regional reps, they said that it was a very good call. They have a very good understanding. That day, they gave us the FPUC addendum agreement, okay. And that we'll start moving that forward. We turned in our implementation plan a couple days before that, and that was the big hurdle that they were trying to throw at us that was needing to be done. So last I heard, which was this morning at about 5:30 when I was talking to them, they're saying they're reviewing our budget request now, and they are looking at the implementation plan went through region and is up in D.C., and they're just looking at that. I don't think there's any more hurdles. I don't think there's any more delays. I think now it's looking at the money and making a decision on exactly how much we get. And I told them, if you want to cut it by 30 million, 40 million, go ahead. I'm not worried about it. Mm-hmm. So it's, 900 million instead of 920 million. Mm-hmm. Pocket change. So they are, I feel that, I should hear something about, when or how, the end of this week, beginning of next week. And I'm not saying that's when we're going to get the money, but at least that they've reviewed the budget and I have some positive movement towards that end. Mm-hmm. And I feel very good at that. I even told them, should I have my governor still continue to call the secretary and work on the White House? And they said, no, we got this. We got it from here. So that's good. And the software is moving very quickly. As you know, we released the second phase of the employer module, and we have over 500 employers with over 5,000 employees entering in there. And every time I ask for an update, that thing just keeps growing exponentially. It's going fairly smoothly. There's always a few glitches. You have to remember that this employer module was something that was already in existence, and they had to modify it. That's how I was able to get it out in 3 weeks. And same with this PUA program. That's moving very well. We're hoping to deploy that in a couple weeks. I want to get that out to the public. I want to start getting people online and start applying. That's the way this has to be done, is online. Regardless of whether we process the applications for the people, we go online and we put it in. This is a very powerful program, and this is the program that will produce all the reports. We'll do some easy adjudication as far as approving these apps when the people put in and put in their information. and it'll batch it and move it forward for the check or EFTs, electronic funds transfers. So this program is where I'm really concentrating now and getting the final touches. And then once that touches are all put in, we're going to hit the training for. I've detailed. The governor wrote letters out to each agency explaining who I wanted, and they're coming to me, and we're training them, and with the understanding of PUA and the program. And then when the online is released, they're going to get trained on that, and then we're going to put them out.
Dave, you came out with some you came out with some new guidance for those people who are self-employed. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit? I saw there was a release you came out with.
Yeah, I've some people have been, the new employer module, they're, getting some complaints that they can't get verified. They can't get verified. And then when I ask them, what's your company? And they say, I'm self-employed. Self-employed individuals do not need to register on the employer module. You only have one. You're the employer and you're the employee. When we release the online application, there is a box to check at the very beginning that says, are you a self-employed or are you an employee? And when you check that self-employed, you get a modified application that's tailored for for you. And so you do not need to register your employers as an employer. One of the biggest problems we're having is that any one company, like a hotel, will have 10 people trying to register. You'll have the waiters going in there, registering for that company, for that hotel, and putting their names in. I mean, it's not funny. These people are just desperate, and they're trying to get in the system. But it is creating a huge backlog of, we need to vet which one is the right name and for that company, and so that that person can get access to put in all the employee information. So this is just some of the little problems that you don't even think of, but everybody just wants to go and put in their companies and put their names in just to think that they're going to get a leg up. But we're moving along pretty good, and I'm feeling very confident that some progress. We got the processing center; it's coming along, and we're going to do a walkthrough at probably the end of the week, beginning of next week, and that will be up and ready to rock and roll soon. And
how close are we?
Consulate that's going to be doing some applications. Nice. So it's. I finally feel like the pieces are coming together after a couple weeks of whirlwind. Where do I start?
How many businesses did you say had registered?
Over 500.
Oh, for 500. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, and these are businesses that are gone back in and put in their employee information. And so that's, as soon as we went live on Monday, it was just being slammed. And, and we're dealing with the questions. Everything had to be ramped up, from the responding to the 311 calls, because a lot of employers, want to know what this term means, what that term means, how do you do this, and we're just trying to get a handle on it, put together some Q&As, and post it up on the website, and we'll distribute it out to you guys. I'm handling about 4 FOIAs all come in, so that's kind of made me step back and slow down and make sure that I address all those FOIAs. And I also, everything that we're FOIAing out, we want to put either online, or we were going to put it online, but now we're forwarding it to the AGs, because we want to give everybody the information, not just one person. I have no problems giving you anything that you want that has to do with PUA. If you read in the paper, in the PDN, there was a beautiful article about Catalina saying that they needed more updates with DOL, and right next to her article was a big article by us updating you.
Are you going to be at the SES, or not be there, but are you participating in the SES meeting today?
SES meeting today?
Special Economic Service meeting with Senator Joseph Augustine? I think
Gary Hiles is on that.
Okay.
And
Dave, how do employees check if they're, and are they able to check if their employer is on that list? Just so if they don't
No.
see them, okay, so it's just strictly for employers.
Yeah, we got to make sure that, only the right person in that company can go in and put
I see.
employer.
Okay.
We don't want anybody going in there and adding
Yeah.
a few names and hearing this and that.
And this is just for the employers that have
Employees.
right, that have been impacted by COVID.
So one thing I will tell you, and I want to make clear, is that I know there's a lot of employees out there. I'm sure you've heard they're saying, I can't get a hold of the employer. They're closed down. I'm trying to get a hold of that letter, or they can't sign a check stuff. The more information that you're able to put in your app, the stronger it is. But one thing I will say is that if you don't have something, there are at least two places in the application process where you self-certify that under perjury of federal law that the information you're putting in there is true and correct. And I could use that to initially approve your application. And then we will vet it, at the subsequently every week you're going to have to turn in a verification that you are still unemployed or that you've looked for work. And I understand during the quarantine period, that piece you don't have to worry about. When the quarantine is lifted, you do have to at least make attempts to go find work or back to your employer. And if the employer says they're still closed, then that's fine. But at least you have to make attempts. And that self-certification, initially, because we're in a pandemic, we will allow and move the applications forward.
Dave, there's a comment here. The registration process for unemployment is done through Hire Guam. That's just for the employers, correct?
That's just the employers.
Right. There's no application yet, right, Dave?
No, that's what I was just talking to you about, the online.
Right.
It's going to be a custom. This is basically they took a program that was with UI and they put in PUA, and they were able to get it out to 7 states. And it's the same vendor that runs my Hire Guam and the employer. So the great thing is that all these modules will talk. And eventually, at the end of this whole mess, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be unemployed, that applied for PUA that are no longer able to get it because it's a 39-week program. That information will seamlessly move over to the Hire Guam, and that's what we will use to start training, retraining, educate, and get these people working again. So that's what's the great about this is one module talks to the other, all your information goes over, and you don't have to reapply for work at the AJC, American Job Center.
Okay, Dave, appreciate the update. I just wanted to head into the end of the week with a little more new information on how the FPUC and the PUA is going with Department of Labor.
So that addendum agreement went out yesterday. And it's in USDOL's hands, so that is not holding us up anymore.
Okay, and just for everybody who is unemployed and waiting on this program, there's no application yet. There's no way for you to apply. So we're
here when I get it out, and I'm hoping within a couple weeks it'll be going live and well.
Okay, so stretch your stimulus, guys.
Yes.
Okay, Dave.
All right, take care,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Wash your hands.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate you
Okay.
guys.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Appreciate you
Take
too.
care, bye.
All right. 712.
500 businesses, that's a lot.
That it is, and it's more. I'm pretty sure there's more.
And if you haven't registered yet, go to hireguam.com. It starts with the businesses first. You need to register, list all of your employees,
Right.
so that when the application